Good morning, Greg Batista here, and I'm here to talk to you about something called a buck hoist on a construction job. A buck hoist is basically an elevator that's used by the construction people to take things up and down the building. You see this thing that's right here? That's your cab, and that thing goes up and down, and down here you have the where the workers go in. Now this cab, there's a cab right here also, and it's waiting for people to go in. So the people go in on this side, and then the door on this side opens up, and they go inside the building, and they take stuff up and down all day long. They come in the morning, typically early in the morning. You've got 20, 30, 40 guys. Now this is a medium-sized job, but these are one of the things that needs to be inspected. It needs to be safe for all the guys, much like an elevator. Now, obviously, there's no elevator inside the building, so obviously it's not going to be used. So, the contractors come up with really neat ways of bringing stuff up and down the building. Now, I'm going to tell you guys about a true story when I was project manager on my very first high-rise condominium. That was, 20 years ago. So, one morning, the guys were taking stuff up and down the building. They all get together here. You see that little guard shack here? On a guard shack, it's a shack that's been built. Now this is a small shack. The one that we had was a 40-story high-rise. I had 300, 400 guys on the job, and I mean, you would have 20, 30 guys in the morning, especially waiting to go up and down this thing, right, to go to work. So in the morning, I get a frantic phone call saying, "Oh my God, 1,000 pounds of brick fell on it. That something fell from up here, from where the cab is, and it fell down, and it just completely destroyed it." And I went running with my heart in my hand, saying, I have a few dead people here, because typically where you have that shack, that's where the guys get together to go, like if it was a regular elevator lobby, right? Like you see this gentleman here, you see him right there? That's just one guy. But what happened was, the reason that happened is that after we did an investigation, was that typically you have these motorized buggies where the people that are putting in the masonry, the concrete masonry blocks, you stack it up on top of these buggies, and they're motorized, and you hit a little button and it starts and it stops. So you don't have to be pushing around a thousand pounds of block. But what happened is that when this thing was in here, the guy went to hit the button, but it kept going, and it went the wrong way. Instead of going into the building, it was going out of the building. And we're talking about 20 stories up, okay? So the guy tried to stop, and he tried to hit the brake, and the brake failed. So when the brake failed, it broke this. You see this white thing here? The brake broke, and it just, remember, about 1,000 pounds worth of block just going, tumbling through the door, breaking the door, and going down, 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 and breaking and falling on top of this shed that was put on here. Now the shed that we had over there was 5, 6, 7, 8 times bigger than this. So when I got called, and it was like maybe about 10 o'clock in the morning, the first thing I thought was, okay, there's a bunch of people dead inside there, and we're gonna have to go fish them out. Because when I got there, it was a tangled mess of wood, of metal sheeting, of wood sheething, nails. And I was the first one there, and I told people, "Hey, let's start getting stuff out. Let's start getting stuff out." And it made a huge crater in the ground. And the more we dug, the more we realized that, okay, we didn't find anybody. And thank God, nobody got hurt. It just so happened that at early time in the morning, that it was empty, and nobody was found underneath there. And we just got away with something that could have otherwise been a complete tragedy. And that's why the companies take very seriously the safety on the job. That something as simple as a brake on a buggy is something that, if it fails, it could lead to a major tragedy on a job site. So that's why when you have on these jobs, you have people putting in a lot of railing. That's a major OSHA violation if you don't put railing in here. If you look closely, you see all these little caps that are here on top of the rebar that are sticking up. You see that? Those caps are made so that if somebody falls on it, they don't get impaled by it. You also have, for example, this these black things that are there, which is basically used as netting to catch any debris that may fall down, right? This is a medium-sized building, but if you even get like a nut or a nail or something that falls down, it could really hurt somebody. So, companies, construction companies pay a lot of money in insurance, and insurances, a lot of times, they make sure that they are following certain rules. Not only the insurance company, but the company itself. It has to have a certain policy to make sure that things are checked, that the bug is checked, that the actual buck hoist is being checked. Even on this tower crane, that these tiebacks that are tying back this huge thing, that these tiebacks are checked, and the cables on this tower crane are checked. A lot of safety goes into this, because I've had, in my experience, I've had several deaths on jobs, unnecessary, because this is the kind of thing that happens when you're in the heat of the battle and you've got a lot of dangerous things going on. So let this be a safety lesson.